Here.
Oh, yeah.
Made it. I am AnzaK, and welcome to the Red Hot Underdogs. As you can see, we have a guest speaker tonight. I'm AnzaK. With me tonight is the ever incredible, long contained, often imitated, never duplicated. It's Drewy and Lee. Please put your hands together.
Thank you. Hey, guys. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the podcast that promises to deliver a lot, but is often as disappointing as a non-alcoholic beer.
Yes.
Just hope that everyone's going well. It's been a wonderful, action-packed weekend of finals football. It's what we've waited for. We've had the AFL. We've started a week earlier with that, but let's face it, it's the NRL, the piece de resistance, the chef's kiss. It's what we come for.
Yeah, it's why we get up in the morning. It's why we go to sleep at night.
It's the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
It's what fills the gaping hole in our souls.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I feel like we've got this big sphere of energy just pushing behind us with our wonderful special guest.
A bit when you say that, please, Drewy. You're showing a bit too much of that spear.
Yeah,
I know. I just get into
before you.
Some of these
let me
scores.
apologize, Louis, because I've kind of lost my voice a bit. So I'm really hoping you and Lee can carry this show.
That's okay. It's like when a batsman gets injured during a cricket game and they have a runner.
I'm a runner. Runner.
Thankfully,
I
I
will
love
just.
my own voice.
Sorry?
Thankfully, I love the sound of my own voice.
Well, that's good. That'll help us. So I'm just going to get into this weekend's scores before we really unpack everything. So the Panthers defeated the Roosters 30 points to 10 in an absolute masterclass. The Storm absolutely annihilated the Sharks 37 points to 10, kicking a field goal just to add that extra rubber dog shit into their face. The Cowboys, in what was quite a bit of a struggle, eventually overcame the Knights in a pretty good rugged game, 28 points to 16. And today's game, absolute thriller. It was all steak, all sauce, and all red hot mustard. Sea Eagles 24, the Bulldogs 22 in an epic. And that terminology gets thrown around loosely, but it was an epic. What are your thoughts?
Oh my goodness. Well, I can only say I've lost my voice because of the screaming. And I would really like either Unit here or Drewy to go through the game. It was a emotional roller coaster.
It was a brilliant game. The Bulldogs were ahead 16-12 at half time. And largely, I felt they dominated that first half. And the Sea Eagles got a wonderful try just before half time by Ethan Bullymore after an absolutely amazing take by, I believe it was Totu Kula. It took it off the Bulldogs player and somehow got a pass around the corner. Bullymore scored under the posts or just about, and that pulled it back to 16-12. But before then, we had tries to kick out, and it was just like the Bulldogs seemed to just really dominate that first half, but Manly hung in there. What did you feel about it, Mr. Unit?
Well, it was, they were trying what they could. The presence was always felt, but wasn't quite capitalizing. It wasn't quite resulting in anything there.
No.
This was the Bulldog. And it was frustrating. It certainly it got my blood pumping. But you just felt that Manly were always just a second away from just something clicking, and then they'd be able to come to the fore.
Yes. It actually, and then the second half, it was, a hotly contested second half. And again, the Bulldogs jumped out to a lead.
Yeah. Hang on.
So-
What happened? Well, second half. So what was the score again? It was
24-22 in favour of the Sea Eagles.
20
The Bulldogs
No,
actually jumped
no.
out to a 22 points to 12 lead.
What was the halftime score when we went in? So
16-12.
15-12, and we'd only just
16, yep.
16-12, and we'd just scored just before the halftime.
Yeah.
What
Yes,
happened.
that's right. That's
and-
right.
Yeah, so the first half we were relieved we got that try, but we weren't in front. We weren't in front.
We
No.
still had a lot to
No.
do. I
And
would have loved to have
Yeah.
been a fly on the wall in the locker room for that half.
And
Man.
I really thought that Dogs played better that first half. I know they got more points, but they played better too. They could have been
Yeah.
more,
Mm.
but we were still in it because we were only a try behind, right? You know, and
Yeah, I would love to sort of be all biased and manly like, but guess what? I think the Bulldogs were the better side throughout the course of the game, but they seemed to just run out of petrol at the end. And Manly, to their credit, which is something they're not synonymous with, is the fight back.
yeah,
Because they were behind 22 points to 12
yep.
and needed to come back from that position in order to win the game, which is something we haven't seen from Manly all
But
that
Dogs
often,
didn't score all
particularly
second
this
half, right?
season.
All second half they didn't score.
Who's
And
that?
the Dogs didn't score all second half. Is that right?
No, they scored.
Oh, they
They
got
got
one.
a try.
One,
Yeah.
yeah. But the most exciting bit was, so Manly's leading by 2, and we were leading by 2. We had what, 15 minutes to go, and
No, about 7 minutes to go.
7 minutes to
I
go.
think, yeah, until we finally hit the
7 minutes
lead.
ago, Manly was winning by 2, but in that 7 minutes, there were
Yes.
2 2-point field goal attempts. 2 of them.
Yes.
Right, one
yes.
at the 11th hour, right? You know, like,
Yes.
whatever minutes, 79 minutes, whatever. But one, a good 3-4 minutes before that.
Yeah.
And both of them, I'm not 100% sure about the final one, you know, because we lost our shit. We were screaming, you know. But the first field goal attempt, 2-point field goal attempt, had the direction, lost the balls. It just didn't have the gut.
Had the legs.
Yes,
Didn't
yeah,
have the
yeah,
legs.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
the second one, like we were watching, all of us here, right? And I was waiting to see the crowd reaction. And Drewy, you called it first. You were like, I think you got, what did you say? Shit, I can't remember. What did you say? It's not going to
I
make
said we've won. That's awesome because I saw the trajectory of the ball. There are probably few expletives in there that I've left out. And I just knew from that point, because of the trajectory of the ball, it wasn't going over.
Didn't
The
make
rest
it.
is history.
I was looking at Drewy when this kick happened, and just like the meme, all the things came out around his head, the formulae and everything.
Yeah.
I just saw it.
Yeah. I was completely locked in. Other people were playing pool and talking about how great the chips and dips were. And mate, I was locked into the whole game. I may as well have had a chain and padlock attached to the plasma TV.
Was good dip, Drewy. It really was good dip. You missed out on the dip. But I tell you what was better was that feeling of beating the Dogs, knowing that Manly has not only kicked, like, can you remember only 2 weeks ago, the Dogs were the team to beat. Boom.
Yes.
We kicked them out, so they didn't make that top 4 side. 2 weeks later, we kicked them out, and they are going to hate Manly for the rest of their lives. Sucked in to the Dogs. They can all eat a big pile of turd shit because we kicked out the Doggies. And next week, let's talk about next week, footy finals.
Okay, so next week we've got the Roosters on Saturday. One thing I was glad of, look, the Bulldogs are the feel-good story of the year, but I was glad to end that fairy tale, bend them over the goalposts, and for once, the Sea Eagles giving it to them doggy style. So wonderful.
We loved it.
So on Saturday, we do play a slightly injured Roosters, which is good news. They've got 3 fairly substantial players out in the form of Walker, Smith, and Radley, so that helps Manly's chances.
One of those being a halfback as well, which
yes, who's an exceptional player. I do like the chances of the Roosters a little bit more. I think they've got a touch more class in their side, but as we've seen today, I prefer to be the underdog and go Manly. This is where we want to be. We don't want favouritism.
No.
We just need to be locked into the job at hand. So
it's funny to hear Manly.
Hopefully next week on Saturday.
Yeah, Manly and favouritism not in the same sentence ever.
Well, not what we heard in the commentary.
Oh, how is that one-sided bullshit commentary? It was like all for the dogs. It was like they all just sat there and muff dive those bulldogs, and we were just
loose lip sync ships. But I remember even Drewy was saying, I think it was Blocker that was saying, "Oh yeah, the Bulldogs have got it here."
Yeah,
and it's like. Yeah. Well, that's really nice objective commentary there, and we appreciate it.
My favourite part is the eulogy after the game where they're all crying in their butt hurt soup about how the Bulldogs lost. That's my favourite part.
Not the Manly part, it's how the Bulldogs lost it.
Yeah, well, that's the way it goes. If you're a Manly supporter, that's what you got to expect. In other games, the Panthers absolutely annihilated the Roosters 30-10. It was 24-0 at half time. And you could sense that the people from Vaucluse in the eastern suburb were firing up their Beamers and their Mercs in the car park and say, it's a long drive back to Bondi Junction. Yeah. Let's get out of Dodge now.
Yeah. Oh, I would have loved to have seen that.
Yeah. They were just clinical.
Who would you rather play, Roosters, or I know we've got to talk about the Sharks and the Storm. Who would you rather play? Who would you rather Manly play, Roosters or Sharks?
Oh, that's a hard one. I'm possibly thinking maybe the Sharks. I know we lost to them last week badly, but here's a stat. They've lost their last 7 semi-finals in a row. And 4 under Craig Fitzgibbon. I'm thinking their psychology isn't too great right now.
Go the Cowboys. Let's hope the Cowboys do them.
They're a little bit fragile. They're lying on the psychologist's leather couch right now with a Panadol and an ice cold glass of water. So I'll probably leave the Sharks, but it doesn't matter. We got to beat who we got to beat, which is the Roosters.
Yep.
And as I've said before, the Sharks are the Greg Norman of the NRL.
Yeah.
I wish them luck, but not too much luck.
Yeah.
The other game was the Storm absolutely smashing the Sharks 37-10. It was 14-10 at halftime in favour of the Storm, but the Storm just absolutely ran over the top of them like a Mack truck driving over a mosquito in the second half.
This is the year of the Storm and the Panthers again, isn't it?
Really? Yeah, I remember you asking me a question earlier in the week. Who would you rather Manly play in the final if we get to there? Would you rather Penrith? Yeah, Penrith. Sorry, there's no team. Penrith or the Storm. And for me, it was a tough question to answer because I really don't like the Storm.
Nobody does.
No. I mean, I was there in 2008 at the grounds.
Yes.
When we handed it to them 40-0.
Yep.
And you've been dining out on that for a long time.
Yeah.
Julian pointed out that, if the Panthers win this time, that's 4 in a row.
Yeah.
And I think that's just greedy. I mean, 3's awesome. A hat trick is amazing. Anything over
Yeah.
Look, there are 2 sides to the table. There's the Panthers who have won 3 premierships in a row. And then at the other end, there's the Tigers that have won 3 wooden spoons in a row. So, swings and roundabouts in this world, champion.
Yeah, well,
so if I was given a
knows?
choice and a
Yeah.
gun to my head, I'd pick the Storm to play instead of the Panthers. I know that sounds strange given the Storm's current record, but our record against the Panthers isn't as good as it is against the Storm.
Well, that's how it's going to pan out. No, it's not.
Yes.
No, it's not. This is how it's going to pan out. Manly are playing the Roosters Saturday night. If Manly wins, we play the other side. So we'll play Penrith we'll play Penrith to get into the grand final.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean,
no, I made a mistake. I'm sorry. Listen.
How about we just wait till next week to find out?
Well, I know.
Okay.
I know. We play Roosters, then play Storm, and then we play Panthers. That is the road to glory.
Just remember, he wasn't going to talk too much tonight because he's lost his voice.
Yeah.
But he's found his voice, which is very good.
I might not know much, but I do know what's ahead of Manly if we keep winning. And it's that Roosters, Storm, Panthers. And I really do think that Manly can beat the Roosters. I really do. I'm not saying this as a Manly fan.
I think they can. But it's going to be a tough game. The other side that said a long goodbye to 2024 was the Newcastle Knights, who went down to the Cowboys. 28-16. The Knights were actually leading at halftime 12 points to 4. But the Cowboys just have too many strike weapons and showed too much class. And unfortunately, the Knights got put to sleep because they just ran out of gas. So,
no one cares. Nobody likes the Knights anyway.
No. So as far as next week is concerned, it'll be the Cowboys versus the Sharks on the Friday.
Yes.
And the Sea Eagles versus the Roosters on the Saturday.
What a game. What a match. Seriously. What a match.
Look, right now, if I'm thinking, if I had an analogy that all the teams left in the finals were rock bands, you can have it in any order with the Panthers and the Storm. It's the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. And then after that, it's like High Five and Hootie and the Blowfish. So it's a big dip down from the next level of the teams.
We know that. Like, look at them. Panthers smashed them. Storm smashed them.
Yeah. I mean, you've got to play for hope. Like you've got to have a level of delusion in your team. Yes, Storm and Panthers are looking crisp. They're looking awesome. They're looking mint. They're looking like the homecoming king and queen. But you've got to have hope with your side. So,
I was saying to Julian earlier in the week as well that if Manly are on song, there's not much that they can't do. If they've got their headspace right. If they're not making stupid mistakes, which unfortunately, look, I'm a Cowboy fan here. This is a Manly fan, despite the hat. We've seen them do silly things. We've seen them. It's definitely silly as well. But if they're on song, if they're in football, I honestly don't think that there's anyone that they can't beat. But
that's true.
Right.
If the Roosters win against us, which we hope they don't.
Let's not even contemplate that.
But if they do, I don't like their chances of winning a grand final. I'll tell you why. Because their stats, so they just lost to, obviously, the Panthers. They've lost 10 in a row against the Panthers.
They haven't beat the Storm or the Panthers.
And they've won 1 out of their last 11 games against the Storm.
There you go.
Just horrendous record. So
Manly's got a higher odds than that against the Storm, you know?
We do. So look, it's all going to be interesting how this plays out. But we're coming to the business end. It's like Christmas, the circus, and watching Evel Knievel all in one day this time of the year. It's bloody beautiful.
So exciting.
Brilliant.
really coming
So-
down higher. It's
Yeah.
I don't think there's well, like you were saying, we've got Panthers, we've got Storm, they're doing well, but still it could be anyone's game still.
Anyone's game.
It could be. I'm glad that the last two games with the Knights and the Cowboys showed a bit of struggle from both sides, and they're a bit more epic and closely contested, because the Panthers and the Roosters with that 30-10 win, and the Storm and the Sharks with the 37-10 win were a bit one-sided. But the last two games this weekend really came through for semi-finals enthusiasts. So I think that was awesome.
And Drewy, dare we talk about Aussie rules? Should we get on to a bit of...
Absolutely. We'll get on to the Aussie rules.
Yep,
So
okay.
the Port Adelaide Power beat the Hawks.
Oh, yep.
75-72. If I'm going through goals and behind, Port Adelaide went 11-9-75. Hawks were 11-6-72.
Oh, yep.
So well done for Port Adelaide. They're going to face Sydney.
Yep.
So, yeah. One thing I don't like about Sydney, even though I'm a massive Swan supporter, I love the Swans.
Yeah, it's Swans. Okay.
Go the Swans. But I found out a stat today. The Swans have actually lost their last 8 games against the Port Power.
Ah.
And about 5 or 6 weeks ago, roughly in the regular season, Swans did lose by 112 points.
Wow.
To the Port Power.
Wow.
That being said, they've been, for the most part, pretty brilliant all year. They've won the minor premiership. They've had the week off.
Yeah.
And I expect them to win. If there is a weakness for the Swans, it is the first quarter.
When do they play,
So-
Drewy? The Swans and Adelaide. When is it?
So that Swans and Port Adelaide will be Friday.
Friday night.
And in the other game, GWS lost to Brisbane, and like Manly, GWS, my favourite saying, have fucked up more leads than the KGB and the FBI. So they lost. Brisbane were 15-15-105 to GWS 15-10-100. Now, if you're a GWS supporter, you're absolutely crying in your milk, because
Well, they've only got one, Drew. They've only got one supporter.
Yeah, it's a ghost town in that bloody stadium.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, it's like a ghost town, and it's like a funeral with 3 people there at their home games. You could have a tumbleweed bounce right through the bloody thing. I don't think the GWS expansion has particularly worked, even though their success on the field has been quite good.
They were up against Brisbane. They were up,
Yes.
and I actually text you as we were watching this.
Mhm.
I was like, "This is great," because Sydney GWS versus Sydney grand final is coming together. It's going to happen.
Yes,
And what
I wanted that.
Brisbane kicked 5 goals in 7 minutes or something. How did that happen?
Yeah, so GWS led by 44 points in the third quarter.
Jesus.
And then at 3/4 time, they were ahead by 25 points. Last week against Sydney, they were ahead by 21 points at 3/4 time.
Wow.
They're heading into the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Mate, if this game only went for 3 quarters, they'd be the absolute champions.
Yeah. That's
Unfortunately for GWS, that hasn't eventuated. And eventually, unfortunately for me, yes, as you discussed, I don't get my dream of a GWS Sydney grand final, of giving all Melburnians their unfortunate and uncomfortable moment of watching the Grizzly grannies and nasty nannies and Grizzly grandpas porn movie.
Well, they won't, like, the Melbournians or whatever they want to call themselves. They won't like Sydney versus Brisbane in a grand final. Has there been something like that before? Like no Victorian?
Oh, yeah.
No, but
there've been a few of them.
Okay.
Yeah, there've been a few of them. We've had Sydney and West Coast. We've had Brisbane and Port Adelaide.
Okay. Yep.
So it's happened a few times.
Yep.
I wouldn't mind it, but you know what? I don't know. I don't really like Brisbane, so I don't mind now that GWS is out.
Yeah.
If Brisbane or Geelong, take your pick. I don't care. All I'm gunning for is the Swans to get in the grand final.
Yeah.
And it could be anyone's. Although, if given a tip, I do like Sydney against Port Adelaide, even though Port Adelaide do have the wood on us.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pick Geelong against Brisbane. They've had the week off and they won the first final very comprehensively.
I hope they beat Brisbane too. You know.
Yeah. So, unfortunately for GWS, it's just like, once again, a predictable porn movie where they just don't get the happy ending.
Yeah.
But we've come to clean the pool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, look, it's all happening. It's just like a wonderful time of the year.
So, rugby league, Aussie rules. Now, Drewy, I know I said to you I wanted to watch the boxing match after. I haven't watched it. Did you want to talk about the boxing? I'm happy to talk about it.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know what happened. Do you know about the boxing? Yeah. Okay. Drewy, tell us, how was the boxing? A big fight today.
Okay, I will get to the boxing very quickly, but at the end of last episode, we mentioned the US Open final.
Yes.
Just for those who don't know, Yannick Sinner won that during the week. So well done. That's his second major final win. He beat Taylor Fritz 6-3, 6-4, 7-5.
Bravo.
Well done to Italianos. You know, your gelato, your pizza, your Alfa Romeo, and your US Open. You're fucking welcome.
Yep.
So,
boxing.
The boxing. So, Saul Canelo Alvarez beat Edgar Berlanga.
Say his name again.
Saul Canelo Alvarez beat Edgar Berlanga.
Berlanga.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah.
Where's Berlanga?
In what was, well, his origin is Puerto Rican. Okay, but he's largely American.
Yeah.
But they did build it as Mexico versus Puerto Rico because the ticket sales weren't particularly good, even though Canelo Alvarez is such a huge draw. So they needed to sort of, play on the heritage thing.
And was it Vegas, baby Vegas? Oh, 10 minutes, cuz. 10
Beautiful.
minutes. That's your 10 minutes morning. Right then.
I believe so. Don't quote me on it. But unfortunately for boxing fans, they're still left wanting a fight that hasn't eventuated. See, Berlanga is a reasonable fighter, but largely untested at the highest level. He's basically beat, a long list of Mexican cab drivers and pool cleaners and pizza boys and whatnot. So, for Alvarez, this was, just a bit of a walk in the park and not really a fight that anybody really wanted, to be honest.
Okay. So what happened? He smashed him. Canelo smashed him.
Yeah, won on points. Quite convincingly. It wasn't particularly close. I believe Alvarez dropped Berlanga at one point, but I actually didn't watch the fight because the one fight that everybody wants to watch is one that Canelo Alvarez is avoiding, which is against David Benavidez, who actually moved up a division because Alvarez had been avoiding him for at least a year and a half, even though Benavidez was his mandatory. And Canelo goes, I am the star. I do what I want.
Yeah.
So he doesn't mind giving a great big dog shit sandwich to all the boxing fans. He'll just do what he wants. Thank you, Canelo, for being a selfish prick. We appreciate it. When he's had and he actually had a number of answers when people ask him about avoiding Benavidez, who had to move up a division because he was just sick of waiting around for the big payday. And then a couple of his answers were, I am East Side, I am the star. But the granddaddy for me was, $200 million. I want $200 million. Mate, no one's giving you $200 million. Yeah, so, we'd all like it. I want a 10-inch penis, but I'm not going to get it.
Well, even when they were scraping the barrel to throw people in the ring with Tyson, no one was paying $200 million for that. So he's not going to get.
Yeah. Well, and that's the problem. I think he feels that he's beaten so many great names within the sport, which he has. I'm not taking that away from him. He's been phenomenal. He's been awesome. But then he sees a young, hungry lion who a lot of people believe will beat him. He doesn't want to take that now because he's in the twilight of his career. If you just want big paydays, fine, but relinquish the belt and don't masquerade as a champion.
Yeah.
That's all I've got to say about it. Yeah.
Before.
Yeah. So very interesting in that sense. And in other news, Tszyu will actually have an IBF championship fight coming up.
I saw. Tell us about that. So is that secured? Like that is happening? Yes.
Yes, against a Russian, Bakram Murtazaliev. So
where they're
we'll
going
see
to
how he goes there.
right? Orlando. Is that? Did I hear that right? Are they going to America?
I think yes, they are fighting in America, and once again, don't quote me on it, but I believe it might be the 26th of October. Okay. I might be wrong on that, but it's a great opportunity for Tszyu to come back.
Yep. And was this hard for him to get after that last controversial loss?
Oh, I think that while he doesn't have that elite name, he does carry some sort of cachet as far as clout is concerned because of his father, Tszyu. Everyone wants to beat, the son of Kostya. And he's also a very good fighter when you strip it all back. So I don't think it's too hard for him to get good fights right now, which is great news. Yep. And I'm excited to see him fight in America.
Again.
Yeah. Oh, mate, I want to see him fight in America. I couldn't give a rat's. I know other people agree. I couldn't give a rat's about him fighting in Australia. I like to see him fight on the big stage.
You reckon he'll sell tickets there, though?
Well, it's going to be a slow progression. That's what he wants to start. You've got to start somewhere. Rome wasn't built in a day. So we'll see how he goes.
He'll sell tickets here. He'll sell out Suncorp or whatever he wants to do here. Like even with that recent loss, because everybody knows it was BS,
Oh, yeah. He'll make bigger money here for sure. Yeah. But that's where he's playing the longer game, though, because if he fights enough in America and gets enough success over there, then there's even bigger riches for him to be had in the long run.
Over there is a good path.
Yes.
I think you can get the cash here, but it'll be a longer path, it'll be a slower path, but it'll be a richer path.
Absolutely.
This opponent, so I know he's Russian. What else do you know about him?
Yeah, he's undefeated, and I believe he's currently the champion. So this is Tim's opportunity to legitimately win a title belt. And
is he going to get a rematch with the butthead that did the cut on his head, whatever his name?
Yeah, well, against Sebastian Fundora.
Yeah, why don't we see? Why aren't we seeing a rematch of that first?
Well, unfortunately, with Sebastian Fundora, would you believe that despite all the drama with the cut that Tszyu had in the first fight, Fundora actually had his nose broken in the second or third round.
Yeah, it looked like it. Yeah.
That's still healing. It's kind of healed, but it's not something that you can just jump back in the ring for straight away after something like that happens. So he'll also have another fight lined up. So we'll see how he goes.
Okay, let us know about him because that would be great. Everybody wants to see that, don't they?
I think that's what Tszyu wants to do. Yeah. He wants to win the belt off Murtazaliev, then force the rematch, hopefully win that, and then he can move on to bigger and better pastures. I
Yep.
believe that's the game plan.
Yeah. Well, he was winning it till he got that cut. He really, really was.
He was, and
so-
then it all went downhill from there.
This Russian sounds like a good path for Tszyu. It really does.
Yeah, it does, and I think he's got a slightly newer corner this time. I don't think he's got Stavros from the kebab shop trying to heal his cuts this time. He's got a proper cut man.
Yep.
So
Like more Vaseline,
that'll
mate.
help.
Vaseline. That's all you need. Vaseline.
A cut
Yeah.
break a fight.
That was a disaster last time. That cut man, like I've said before, it was like he was trying to do paper mache on Tim Tszyu's head. So I think he's got a slightly more experienced man running the cuts this time with proper Vaseline.
Yeah.
Not something he got from Aldi 3 minutes before the fight.
You don't have metal in a bucket of ice, they're not a cut man.
Yeah, that's right. If you're a cut man, have Vaseline, will travel.
Yeah. It's
All good. Yeah.
Oh, well, this is
Even in the change rooms
It's
eventually.
a really
sometimes.
exciting time for sport. It's a really exciting time for the Red Hot Underdogs. We got finals footy. We got Manly winning.
yes.
We got
Yes.
Manly playing the Roosters. And
Yes.
with a full uninjured Roosters side, I'd say
Yeah.
we are in trouble. But
But
I
this,
honestly believe, I haven't seen the odds, and I'm sure that we
Yeah.
are the underdogs. As you
Yeah.
said, we will be the underdogs. And
I'm just hoping it won't be a foul match.
yeah,
Oh, very good. I got that. You're very good. Nice dad joke. Love the pun.
They're
Beautiful.
winging it, really.
it won't. It
Yeah.
won't.
Ah, that again.
It won't be. It
I'm
won't be.
sorry.
It's
I'm
going to
making the
be.
rest of it.
He's making the best of it, and it's
Beautiful.
sensational. We got less than a minute to go,
Yeah.
so it's just
Go.
go Manly,
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
Manly,
Go
Drewy.
Manly.
Do it.
We got Cherry
One
Evans. We
song,
got
nothing
Brooks.
can beat us.
Come on, Manly.
Yeah. We got Cherry Evans, we got Brooks, we got Paseka, we got Hamoli Alakawatu,
Yep.
we've got the guns, we got the firepower. We've just got to get the missile to the target.
Who was good today? Like that Bullymore, he did really well. He's
Yeah.
young.
He's always good. Most
Yeah.
underrated player in our team. Full
Seriously
stop period.
underrated, you know.
Yeah,
Hopawati
absolutely.
did really well.
Yeah.
too. Hopawati did well.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
Yeah,
I can't
we're
wait.
up for it.
Yeah.
We're
So-
ready.
Hopawati-
We're ready for the challenge.
Yeah.
We're ready for the challenge.
Yes.
Yes. Go Manly.
Go Manly.
Booyah!
Yes. Yay, booyah. Beautiful. Thank you, Julian. Thank you,
guys.
special guest. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'd love to be on again.